would you excuse the meeting?
Good evening. We'll call to order the City of Cedar Falls Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Wednesday, April 25th, 2018. We have the roll call, please.
Atkins? Here. Arnson? Absent. Girusso?
Here.
Hartley? Holst?
Here.
Leeper?
Here.
Oberly?
Here.
Saul?
Here.
Wingert.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. Next, we'll move on to approval of our April 11th commission meeting minutes. Any changes, questions, or is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I have a correction.
Correction?
Minutes. The ending time of the meeting was incorrect. I believe it should be 7 o'clock and not 8:30. I'm not sure we were here that quite that long.
Thank you for catching that. Any other corrections or?
Move to approve with corrections.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to move with the corrections. All those in favor of approval signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Thank you. Our minutes are approved. At this point, we'll move on to any public comments. Open the floor for any comments. Anyone who'd like to speak to the commission, if you want to come up and state your name and address. Okay. We have no old business items this evening. We do have 3 items of new business. The first is the College Hill Neighborhood Site Plan Review for 1926 Tremont Street. And Ms. Lehman, if you would introduce this item, please.
Thank you. So the owner of 1926 Tremont Street is proposing to build a new garage on the property, and to do that he'll have to remove an existing attached garage to access it and back. As this property is located within the College Hill overlay, this type of improvement is seen as a substantial change and does require review by both Planning and Zoning and City Council. And that is why we have this on our agenda here tonight. Here you will see 3 images showing the proposed plan. The first image on the far left is an aerial view showing where the existing attached garage is that will be demoed, as well as the basic footprint of where the new 2-stall garage will be placed. The second image there in the middle shows the proposed site plan, a little bit more detail there of the dimensions of the new garage, as well as a driveway that'll be poured connecting to it. And the last is a sketch showing what the proposed garage will look like. The garage itself is 24 by 24 feet, so 576 square feet, and does meet all the zoning requirements in terms of height and setbacks. The materials that are being proposed for this garage do match that of the house, so similar siding materials and color, as well as similar roof materials. There was a courtesy notice that was mailed out to neighboring property owners, and staff has received no comments or questions from them. And the College Hill Partnership has reviewed this case as well, and didn't have any comments or suggestions either. With that, staff recommends that the proposed site plan of the garage at 1926 Tremont Street be proposed and forwarded to City Council for approval.
Thank you. Is there anyone present who would like to speak to this item? Seeing none, if there are any comments or questions from commission?
I think it looks pretty straightforward, and I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Please go ahead and vote. And we have 6 ayes on that one, so that item is approved. Recommend approval for the City Council. Our next new business agenda item is River Place 4th Edition Preliminary and Final Plat. And Ms. Lehman, I think you're up as well.
Thank you. So Eagle View Partners is proposing to create a new lot in the River Place development. The intent is for this lot to be purchased by Community Main Street for their new office location. The plat that we have in front of us here today is at the northeast end of East 4th Street at the entrance of the water reclamation plant. So here I have a general map showing the downtown and then kind of a zoom in of the aerial of the lot in question for today's review. Here is the kind of a zoom-in section of the proposed plat or subdivision. It's proposing really to create 2 lots. Lot 1, as I mentioned before, will be about 0.2 acres, and that will be the lot that will be given to Community Main Street for their new office location. And Lot 2, the remainder of that subdivision, will remain as part of the River Place development, and that is roughly 1.5 acres. The parcel itself is located in the C3 Commercial Zoning District, and this district does not have any lot size requirements or restrictions, so it does meet the zoning requirements in terms of potential lot layout. In addition, both lots have enough access to the main road there, and there will be a access easement over all of Lot 2, which will allow free movement for tenants and individuals trying to access either property. Here's an image kind of zooming into the Lot 1, showing the footprint of the chamber building relocation. That was actually something we reviewed and approved, I think, a month or two ago. But just showing again that this is the location where this building will be placed, and the building does fall within the lot lines and does meet those requirements as well, setbacks for C3. So with that, staff has no concerns with the proposed changes. All utilities and everything there will remain the same. There was also a courtesy mailing sent out for this property, and staff has not heard any comments or concerns regarding that. So with that summary, staff is proposing that the proposed plat, our subdivision, be approved, recommended approved, and forwarded to council for the next meeting.
And is there anyone present who'd like to speak to this item? Any questions or comments from the commission?
I need to abstain on this item.
I move to approve.
Motion to approve is there, and there's a motion and a second to approve. Please go ahead and vote. We have 1 abstention and 5 ayes. This item is approved, and we'll move on to City Council recommending approval. Our final item of new business is the South Cedar Falls Urban Renewal Plan. And Mr. Graham, if you would introduce this item, please.
Thank you. What's on the agenda tonight is the proposal for a new South Cedar Falls urban renewal area, which on the screen here is the boundary area for that. And with that, with the new urban renewal area that's being proposed, we're also proposing the plan, the urban renewal plan that goes with that. So on this image, I wanted to show 2 images. One, the one on the left is the area in purple. So that comprises the South Cedar Falls urban renewal area that we are proposing. And the image on the right, what I wanted to show was the land within that. Since you can't see the land underneath the purple, what I wanted to show was the land underneath. As you can see, a lot of that area is undeveloped currently. This portion was a part of one of Cedar Falls' earlier urban renewal areas, but it did expire in 2016. And so what the city is doing, and that's the kind of the reasoning of this image on the right, is we're looking to establish a new urban renewal area for this area because it has not yet developed. And that's the whole point of what we're doing tonight. Again, the urban renewal law has a 20-year sunset, and that's the reasoning why the existing area kind of went offline in 2016 because it was established back in, I think, 1995. And so again, what the city was looking at is areas that were still undeveloped that we wanted to reestablish an urban renewal area in, and this was the area that the city's looking at moving forward with. So according to state code, the state code states that prior to its approval of an urban renewal plan, the local governing body shall submit the plan to the Planning Commission for review and recommendations as to its conformity with the general plan for the development of your municipality as a whole. And so that's what's before the commission tonight, is the commission is looking at the urban renewal plan and seeing how it conforms with the general plan of the city. And then the Planning Commission gives a recommendation, and then that gets forwarded to City Council. City Council did set a hearing for a public hearing for May 7th, where they will be taking up the adoption of the urban renewal plan. So looking at conformance with the comprehensive plan, Cedar Falls has a comprehensive plan that was adopted in May of 2012. Some of the goals within the comprehensive plan include expanding and enhancing the commercial and industrial base, supporting new businesses through economic development programs, repairing aging infrastructure, and expanding technology infrastructure to attract business and industry. And one of the other things within the comprehensive plan is a future land use map. This image tries to show what the future land use map, which was part of that comprehensive plan, shows for future land uses. You can see most of the uses within this proposed urban renewal area include commercial, industrial, and office and business park uses. There is a small area there of greenway and floodplain because there is a creek that kind of runs through some of that land. So what this is just showing is that, yes, the future land use map is showing this for commercial, office, industrial type development, which would tend to be in conformance with kind of the goals of what the urban renewal plan is about. And then, so again, some of the objectives within the proposed plan includes stimulating private investment in new commercial and industrial development, providing for sufficient land for such commercial and industrial development, provide for installation of public infrastructure, use of various incentives to provide a marketable and attractive investment climate, achieve a well-balanced economy, and then develop a sound economic base. So based on the goals and the designated future land uses that are in the comprehensive plan, which was approved in 2012, staff finds that the proposed objectives and the activities to be carried out through the proposed urban renewal plan are in conformance with that general plan for the development of the city. And so staff is recommending that the Planning and Zoning Commission find also that the proposed plan is in conformance with the comprehensive plan and forward that recommendation on to City Council.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this item? Questions, comments from Commission?
This is pretty straightforward. We just kind of extending what we were doing prior to this, and I don't think anything's changed dramatically from the last 20 years.
Right, and so in 2016, there was a larger area that came offline, and so we're not putting in exactly what was taken out. We're just
Right.
kind of putting in the areas
Taking the area that,
the majorly undeveloped areas, and that's the point of what that image I wanted to show was that
Right.
the areas that we are including back in are the areas that are undeveloped that we see a need to reestablish a new urban renewal area in.
Shane, I had a question about the land use map, and I had called you earlier about that. So that one part showed industrial, which we've already approved an office park plat for that. How often does the land use map get looked at? Or,
So the future land use map was done by the consultant when the comprehensive plan was adopted in 2012. And we can look and make minor changes to that kind of as the city sees fit.
Okay.
There are some other areas, I think, in the city where we probably look at and say they could probably be looked at. So yeah, those are things that the city can kind of act on its own
Okay.
when we see fit. And this is one of them. It shows that property that the Holiday Inn site plan that the Planning Commission recently reviewed as industrial. I don't think that's going to be the intended use for that property. I think that's going to develop more into commercial, professional office type use. So that's something we could probably come forward with here in the future to change that designation. But that designation now doesn't affect what we're doing with the urban renewal plan at this time.
all right, thank you.
Sometime you can explain urban renewal and farm fields to me. Seems pretty straightforward. I would move that we approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Please go ahead and vote. We have 6 ayes on that, so Commission has approved and recommend approval onto the City Council. That concludes our agenda items for this evening. Is there a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor of adjournment signify with aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. Thank you. We are adjourned.